All right, welcome back to the new edition of this particular channel of our long bet weekend long bet. So, on this edition, we have something new this time around. As you all know, that most times what we always use for our long bet is both team to score, and this time around, we are using that both team to score to predict over 1.5 goals, and also we will use over 2.5 goals to predict over 1.5 goals. So we are going to get up to like 27 games on the list for our weekend long bet that we include both Saturday, and at the same time it will also include Sunday games. So let us look into most of the games that we have on the list, and I already use this app to generate the games, and I'm going to review to you guys all the games on this particular app because I already generated everything. And the reason behind generating or using those games, I'm going to review them to you guys in this particular video. So just make sure that you follow this particular video from the beginning to the end, and make sure that you don't skip any part, because I will also share the booking code for the games in the video before the end of this particular video. So just make sure that you pay attention and stay with us from the beginning to the end. All right, so I generated the game. So I already have them here. All right, so I generated game for Saturday and Sunday using the both team to score option. And the reason why I'm currently using the both team to score option for over 1.5 goals is because if you are predicting a game to end up as both team to score, and for you to predict a game like that, then automatically you are expecting goals from the home team and the away team, and that is automatic over 1.5 goals. So naturally you are expecting over 1.5 goals like that. All right, so most of the games that we have on the list are for Saturday using this option of both team to score. I think I have just 10 games out of all these 20 games as you guys are saying. And let me give you guys the points or the factors that you need to consider before validating a game to end up as over 1.5 goals using the both team to score predicted by this app, or using the over 2.5 goals predicted by this app. So the number one factor that you need to look into is that you need to always check in the last 10 games of these two teams, at least they must have 50% of their games ending up as over 2.5 goals, at least in their last 10 games. 50% ending up as over 2.5 goals for both teams. In the last 10 games of the home team, in the last 10 games of the away team, they must have 50% ending up as over 2.5. And at least one of these two teams must have 50% of their last 10 games ending up as over 3.5. At least one of the two teams, either the home team or the away team, one of them must have played over 3.5 at least 60 times. 60, they must have 60% of their last 10 games ending up as over 3.5 goals. So I have 10 games on the list like this, and the first one that I have on the list that you guys are seeing is this match under the Estonian League, the match between FC Tallinn against Numekauju. The game is expected to end up as both teams to score with odd of 1.41 odd for the both teams to score, but naturally I would like to go for the game as both teams to score, but it may end up the other way around. Both teams to score is something that is very hard sometimes, but it is actually working out so well with the help of this particular app. So the first game that we have as our over 1.5 goals using both teams to score is this particular match that you guys are seeing. And the second game that I have on the list is this match under the German second division league. The odd for the both teams to score is 1.50 odd, but I'm going for over 1.5 goals. And the third game that I have on the list is still under the German league, but they are third division league. So this particular game that you guys are seeing against Offiam, their second team, expect over 1.5 goals from there. And the next game is under the Faroe Island League. You can see the both team to score for this one is even very small. The odd for it is 1.36, which shows that there is high probability of the game ending up as both team to score. And if the game ended up as both team to score, that is automatic over 1.5 goals for us. So there are some situations where we can experience maybe 0-2, 0-3, and and the game is maybe the game you are actually expecting them to actually play both team to score, and they ended up as maybe over 2. It happens very well. And another game that I want you guys to look into is this match under Sweden Ethan North. So the both team to score is 1.46. If you check their last 10 games, you are going to see that the factors that I told you guys to always consider, you are going to find it there. So another game that you need to look into is this match under the Estonian League, Vapros against IU. So the both team to score odd is 1.50 odd. So expect over 1.5 goals on it. And another game is under the this particular game, Iceland, we're supposed to look into it, but I don't want to go for anything like cup games. Let us scrape it out. So the next game that we can look into is the Qatar Stars League. This match between Al Rayyan and Al Sadd. The odd for the both teams to score is 1.33. And if you check the factors that I told you guys earlier, their last 10 games, you are going to find the factors there. So we are going for over 1.5 goals on it. And we are going to look into Stuttgart under the German main league. Stuttgart against Borussia Dortmund. Both teams are expected to score because I know Dortmund very well. They score and they concede. Yes. Alright, so moving forward, we have another game under the Netherlands main league, and these two teams are highly expected to score, especially this away team. They do both teams to score very well, and the odd for their both teams to score is 1.44 odd. So we are going for over 1.5 for automatic winning. And lastly, the match between Atletico Madrid and Barcelona. This match that you guys are seeing, expect both teams to score from both sides. So automatically, that is over 1.5 goals for us. All right, so just 10 games for Saturday, and we are going to look into Sunday. We are going to look at the games that we have on Sunday also. So after checking that, for those that are not using this platform, you can actually follow the prediction. You can select it on your own bet platform. But for those that will be using bet platform that I'll be using on this video, kindly make sure that you don't skip any part of it. And let's proceed to Sunday games. All right, now, so looking into the games that we have on Sunday, we have 20 games as usual, and it seems like most of the odd for the both team to score on Sunday, they are more higher than the one that we had on Saturday. And if you look at it, the first game that we have on the list is under the USA Major League, that is LA Galaxy against Minnesota United. This game, if you check the factors that I told you guys to always consider before predicting a game, you are going to find it there. That is, out of the last 10 games, we must be able to get 50% for the home team and the away team of their last 10 games that ended up as over 2.5 and at least one of these two teams must have more 50% or more than 50% in their last 10 games that ended up as over 3.5 goals. So this happens to be the criteria that will qualify your bet as over 1.5 goals. The first game on Sunday that we have is LA Galaxy against Minnesota United. So we are going to look into this. Although we don't really have much games on Sunday that are highly expected to end up as over 1.5 goals or both teams to score, even though this app predicts accurately at least 50 to 60% accurately. That is if I'm under using understatement. So the next game that we have on the list for Sunday is the match under the Netherlands League. Let me check. So we have SC Erevin against Heracles Amelo under the Netherlands Major League. This particular match is highly expected to end up as both teams to score. So we are going for over 1.5 goals. Moving forward, if you look into, if you have been observing Norway leagues maybe for the past few years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, this league, they are known for doing both teams to score and scoring goals very well. And when I checked their last 10 games, I got the factors that I was looking for, and that is the reason why we'll be looking into this game as over 1.5 goals or both teams to score. But we are looking into over 1.5 goals this time around for more for safety purpose. And our next game on Sunday is the match between Fenerbahce against Besiktas under the Turkish Super League. So the both team to score odd is 1.53, but checking their stats, I will strongly advise you guys to go for over 1.5. And lastly, on Sunday, for both team to score, using both team to score to predict over 1.5 goals, let us look into France League 1 and the match between Monaco and Olympique Marseille. Expect goals from both sides, and that will give us automatic over 1.5 goals. So that's all for Sunday games. And if we are to look into other games, if we are to look into other list of games that we have, these games are generated with over 2.5. When you predict games to end up as over 2.5 and you are playing it as over 1.5, that is another safety plan. That is another backup. That is the save version of the over 2.5. So I'm going to look into games that this app generated as over 2.5. We are going to check the factors that we are considering, and if we can find these factors in those games, then those games are perfect for our over 1.5 goals hunting. All right. So we are going to look at games that are highly expected to end up as over 2.5 on Saturday, and as you guys can see, the odd for the over 2.5 is mostly around 1.4, and sometimes it is very rare for you guys to see odd that will be 1.2 like this. And the first game that we have on this list that you guys are seeing games that are expected to end up as over 2.5, the first one that we are going to look into is the Estonia, under the Estonia League, the match between Levadia against Nome United. So this game is expected to end up as over 2, but when I check their stats, it also qualified to be predicted as over 1.5 goals. I'm just concerned if the odd for the over 1.5 will be reasonable, because of the odd for the over 2.5 is even ridiculous for the risk. All right, so the next game that we have on the list is actually under the German uh third division league. That is where we have Avels. I think Avels. All right, so German third division league, Avels. The odd for the over 2.5 of this game is 1.44 odd. So expect over 1.5 goals. And under the Finland league, we have HJK against SJK. The odd for the over 2.5 is 1.44 odd. And another one that we have is under the German Major League. That is the match between Freiburg and Bayern Munich. So expect over 1.5 goals, even though it is predicted as over 2, and it is highly possible that the game will end up as over 2. But let's go for over 1.5. And another one that we have is under the Belgium Challenger Pro League. That is, I think, their second division league. So this game is highly expected to end up as over 1.5. You can see the odd for the over 2, that is 1.42 odd. And under the Faroe Island, some of the games that you guys are seeing here, for example, we've checked it earlier under the BTTS option. So we have a Faroe Island, that is the match between B68 and SNSI. The odd for the over 2.5 is 1.33, and the factors that we always consider, we are able to find it in the start of this fixture. So we are going for over 1.5 for this. And lastly, we have another game under the league that I know they do score over 2.5 goals very well. And if you see the odds very well, if you look at the odd, you will see that the bookmakers, they reduce the odd to the minimum. So expect over 1.5 goals on the match between Always Ready and Real Tomayapo. Alright, so that's all for Saturday under the list of over 2.5. and we have just few games for Sunday using the over 2.5 goals prediction and considering these factors. So these factors happens to be something that you also can actually check yourself. You can do the analysis, you can observe, and like that. All right, so let us check the Sunday games that we have under the list of over 2.5 goals predictions. Yes, on our list on for Sunday, on our list on over 1.5 goals using the over 2.5 goals prediction for Sunday, we have the first game as under the USA Major League Soccer, the match between Inter Miami against Austin. You can see the total goals predicted, that is over 2.5, but we are going for over 1. And checking the stats, it meets up with the analysis. So that will be our first game on the list. And our second game on the list is under the Bolivia League, a very nice league for predicting over goals. The odd for the over 2.5 is 1.33, and the factors are there. So we are going for that one as over 1.5 goals. And we have another game to be played as over 1.5. That is the match between Vancouver White against Portland Timbers. The match is predicted as over 2.5, but we are looking at it as over 1.5. And another game that I have on the list, which happens to be the last game that I'll be predicting on Sunday for using the over 2.5 goals prediction, that is the match under the Australia A League Men, the match between Melbourne Victory against Wellington Phoenix. So this game is predicted as over 2.5 with odd of 1.53, but checking the stats, it actually meets up with what we are considering, the factors that we always consider before predicting over 1.5. And Australia League, they are known for scoring goals very well. I love using them for both teams to score, and at the same time using them for half time over 0.5. The only problem about them is just that the inconsistency is the problem. That is the issue. All right, so if you are using the best platform that I'll be using, make sure that you don't skip this video from the beginning to the end, because at any part of the video I'll be dropping the booking code so that you won't skip the booking code. All right, so I'll proceed to check the total odds that we are able to accumulate using this method and this strategy. All right, so let's proceed. So let us quickly treat most of the games that we have on Saturday first, and based on the games that we predicted on the both team to score aspects, and at the same time the over 2.5 goals list. So the first one that we have is under the Estonian League. I think we have two games predicted here. We have FC Tallinn and we have Levadia. We have Levadia there. So we have FC Tallinn. This game is expected to end up as both teams to score or over 1.5. You can see the bookmakers are not providing the odd line for over 1.5. So we are going to check. We are going to make use of the goal bound, which is which is the same thing as using over 1.5 goals. So goal bound of 2 goals to 5 plus. That is, we are expecting at least 2 or more goals in this match. So the odd is 1.13 odd. And the next game that we have on the list is other. Okay, let us check the match for Levadia. This one. So the odd for the over 1.5 is 1.07 odd. And proceeding, we have another game under the German Second Division League. That is we have is something like that. Okay, we have sorry if I can't pronounce their name, sorry. So this particular game under the German Second Division League, Kaiserslautern against Fortuna Düsseldorf. So let's go for 1.5. Odd is 1.17 odd. So under the German Third Division League, we have the match against TSG Offiam's second team. This game is expected to end up as over 1. We found it under the list of teams that are expected to play both teams to score. And another game that we are going to look into is under the Faroe Island League. So we have this game expected to end up as over 1. The odd is 1.12. And going to Sweden League, Sweden Ethan North. Sweden, we have so we have Solentuna. Alright, so Solentuna FK is expected to play the over 1.5. The odd is 1.17. So going back to the Estonia League, we have Vapros. We have Vapros. Alright, so we have Vapros to play over 1.5. And the odd for that is 1.16. So next one is under the Qatar Star League. That is where we have the match between Al Rayyan against Al Sadd SC. So this game is expected to end up as over 1.5 goals. So we don't have the odd line for that. So we are going to make use of the go bound option. So let's use the go bound option. So use the go bound option. So the odd is 1.10 odd. And the next one is the match under the German Major League. The match between Stuttgart and Borussia Dortmund. So we are expecting both teams to score in this game. So that is automatic over 1.5 goals for us. So the next one is under the Netherlands Major League. That is the match for Excelsior. Oh, is that their Major League? Yes. So this game, expect over 1.5 goals at odd of 1.17 odd. And lastly, under the list of both teams to score, we have another game under the Spain League. That is the match between Atletico Madrid against Barcelona. The odd for that one is 1.13 odd. So that's all under the list of both teams to score. So we are going to look into list of over 2.5. We've already predicted the match under the Estonian League, the match for Levadia. So proceeding to German Third Division League, I think we already predicted Avels. Let me check. German Third League. Alright, so we have TSV Avels over 1.5 goals. So under the Finland League, we have HJK against SJK. So this game is expected to end up as over 1.5 goals. The odd is 1.14. And moving forward, we have another game under the German main league, the match between Bayern Munich and Freiburg, over 1.5 goals. Alright, so proceeding, we have another game under the Belgium league. Let's check the Belgium league. That is their second division league. That is a RSCA. This match, we are expecting over 1.5 goals. The odd is 1.15. And proceeding, we have another game under the Faroe Island League. So that is B68 against NSI. We are going for over 1.5 goals. The odd is 1.08 odd. And lastly, for Saturday, under the list of games predicted by the app as over 2.5 goals. That is under the Bolivia League. The match between for Always Ready. So how come I can't find? Supposed to have the game here. Actually, I can't find the match for Always Ready yet. Let me search. Actually, I can't find the game here. So let us just, or probably maybe the game has extended to Sunday. Let me check on Sunday. Under the Bolivia League. Alright, so we can't find the game there. Always Ready. So we are going to skip that. Alright, so moving on to Sunday games. We are going to look into the games that we have on the list of both team to score that we are predicting as over 1.5. The first one that we have on the list is under the USA Major League. So the match for Los Angeles Galaxy. Alright, so we have it here. LA Galaxy against Minnesota United. This game is expected to end up as over 1.5 goals. The odd is 1.20 odd. So another game that we have is under the German Third Division League. So here we have SSV ULM against SC Val. So this game under the Third Division League of Germany. So we are looking into this game as over 1.5 goals. Odd is 1.15. Next game that we have is under the Netherlands Major League. That's where we have SC Erevin. The odd for the game is over 1.5. Okay, 1.15. We have another game under the Norwegian League. So we are going for this game as over 1.15 odd. We have Fenerbahce against Besiktas under the Turkish League. This game that you guys are seeing, expect over 1.5 goals, 1.20 odd. And lastly, we have the match under the France Ligue 1. France Ligue 1, that is Monaco against Marseille. Both team to score or over 1.5 goals. So we are going for over 1.5. All right, so that's the last game under the list of games that we have that are highly expected to end up as both team to score. But moving forward to list of games that we have as over 2.5 that also qualifies to be predicted as over 1.5 goals. So the first one is under the Belgium League. Okay, no, we've predicted that one. That is under the USA League. That is the match for Inter Miami against Austin FC. Expect over 1.5 goals, if not both teams to score. So moving on to Bolivia League. We have San Antonio against Orient Petrolero. Expect over 1.5 goals, 1.10 odd. And going back to USA League, we have Vancouver Whites against Portland Timbers. That is over 1.5. And lastly, we have our last game on under the Australia League. That is the match for Melbourne Victory against Wellington Phoenix FC. So expect over 1.5 goals at odd of 1.16. odd. All right, so we have 26 games on the list. Yes, 26 games on the list. The total odd for this edition weekend long bet is just 32 odd, using over 1.5 goals all through. Over 1.5 goals. So most of the games that we predicted are games that are highly expected to end up as either both team to score or over 2.5 goals. All right, so for the booking code, make sure that you don't skip any part of this video, because I'm going to drop the booking code 3 times in this particular video. I'll drop it around at the beginning of the video, the middle of the video, and at the end of the video. All right, so in case you want to join us on our private class or on our Telegram platform, you are going to find all these platform link in the comment section and also in the video description. And if you are just joining us for the first time on this channel, make sure that you click on the subscribe button and the bell, so that you will get notified whenever we drop any update on this channel. See you guys in the next video. Bye bye.